Now, so many of the investors globally woke up at quite sad news, and these are the news of seeing or reading that Nvidia just yesterday alone lost over $500 billion. This is not only, or that did not only have an impact onto Nvidia, but there are quite a number of stocks indices that did not do well yesterday. I mean, Nasdaq finished down 3%. We've got S&P 500 finished down 1.4%, and Nvidia lost around 589 billion in value in just one day. And this was due to an AI platform that China just launched called DeepSeek, which apparently is bringing or giving some fierce competition onto US-based companies or AI companies. I mean, Microsoft, Google, Meta, OpenAI, all of these companies faced some serious heat yesterday for Google, Microsoft, Meta, and OpenAI to build those AI platforms. They obviously spent quite a number of millions, but what happened is that, or what we saw in China is that DeepSeek, this company DeepSeek, managed to do an OpenAI platform that not only is it much better than all these other AI platforms that are the US-based companies launch, but they built it in a space of 2 months, and it cost them like $5.6 million.
And billions of dollars to build the latest AI large language models. But now a Chinese research lab has built a competitive model in just 2 months with dumbed down GPUs for less than, get this, $6 million, not billion, $6 million.
This is why it is making the headlines, because when we are seeing other companies that are spending millions or quite a number of millions building these AI platforms, DeepSeek just spent around 5.6 million to open their AI platform, and in terms of how it responds, guys, it is out of this level. In terms of what you can do, apparently you can build anything you can ever imagine. You can build anything from DeepSeek. I mean, the difference between ChatGPT and DeepSeek is obviously ChatGPT is a platform for individuals and businesses, but DeepSeek is for enterprises and businesses, which obviously it shows you that DeepSeek is more of building a company, or it's more for companies. I mean, OpenAI announced that they are planning to spend $5.1 billion this year to advance their ChatGPT. Google announced that they are going to spend, of course, $51 billion for their OpenAI platform, and Microsoft is going to spend $13 billion. Now, this is what is making ChatGPT to, or it's one of the things that is making ChatGPT to really stand out, because when all these other American company or US-based companies are spending even billions to advance their technology, DeepSeek just spent like $5.6 million, and they were able to create a platform that is so good in a way that it is beating most of these AI platforms that the US-based companies have built. I mean, it is very interesting what China is doing, because if you remember very well, last year around May, Google ex-CEO came and said that in terms of OpenAI, the US was 3 years ahead of China. But he came in December and he said China has caught up in a space of 6 months.
But now Schmidt is singing a different tune. Here he is on ABC's This Week.
Well, I used to think we were a couple of years ahead of China, but China has caught up in the last 6 months in a way that is remarkable. The fact of the matter is that a couple of the Chinese programs, one, for example, is called DeepSeek, looks like they've caught up.
It raises major questions about just how wide OpenAI's moat really is.
This shows you the work that China is putting. This shows you of where China is headed as a country. I mean, this just shows us that China is where the money might be at in terms of even investing into stocks, because so many of the people, when you talk about Chinese equities, Chinese stocks, Chinese economy, obviously they don't want to listen to that. But this breakthrough that DeepSeek just brought from China, it shows you the kind of work that China is doing, or companies in China are doing. I mean, last year under the Biden administration, you know that US came and of course restrict Nvidia to ship some of their chips into China, saying that of course it's a threat, they might advance at a faster pace, and they were trying to slow them down. But look at what DeepSeek just launched with the legal chips, or with the chips that they were receiving from Nvidia. If my memory serves me well, the chips that were restricted by Nvidia were like what? H100s, and right now DeepSeek apparently was built by H800 chips, which those are not as good as the H100s, but they managed to build this platform, which is something that it shows you, or it speaks volumes. So this is the reason why, or the primary reason why, obviously stocks like Nvidia, stocks like Intel, AMD dropped quite sharply yesterday, because China, it is proving to the US that, you know what, we can't do these things by ourselves. I mean, on my other channel where I talk about a company called Neo used to order, or used to get their autonomous chips from, of course, Nvidia. But right now, because of the supply chain constraints, because sometimes the US can wake up and say they won't take certain chips into China. That is what led into companies like Neo building their own chips, which not only can perform the same functions as the chips that Nvidia was providing, but they are even ahead in terms of performance. They are up there, which is something that, of course, it shows you the work that China is putting. So yeah, man, this is why we saw, or this is the primary reason we saw Nvidia dropping quite sharply yesterday. I mean, when I saw this, I was like, what is really happening? I did not, honestly, I was not expecting to see such heat onto Nvidia. But seeing Nvidia losing $581 billion in just one day, which makes it the biggest loss we have seen onto an individual stock. This is something that obviously shows you why China is headed. It shows you the progress that China is making. Ignore the naysayers. I mean, some of the big financial institutions are already bullish onto the Chinese EV makers like Neo. Some of these big financial institutions, they know that, of course, they want to buy China, because China is growing. China, it is finding ways to continue growing with some of the restrictions that they received time and time again from the US, right? So this is good news. This is something that I thought I come and share with you. DeepSeek, it is the future. DeepSeek, it's here. DeepSeek, you can build anything you want, and it is for that reason that I think quite a number of people are talking about this DeepSeek story, right? I mean, yesterday on my other channel I did cover this video, but I've been receiving questions from some of the viewers or some of the subscribers who watch this channel to say that, what is the story with the DeepSeek? Why are we seeing Nvidia down 17% or almost 17%? Then I realized that maybe I should also do a video this side about what China just did. This just proves to the US that China will go regardless of what the US might throw at them, regardless of the restrictions. Yes, they might not have everything at the moment, but I'm telling you, China is coming. I mean, you will remember that last year when the Biden administration stopped Nvidia from sending the H100s into China, they thought they got China. China is not going to move. China is not going anywhere. But guess what? With the legal chips they had, DeepSeek was formed. With those H800 chips they had, they were able to produce this DeepSeek, which is something that obviously is great, and it is bringing some fierce competition into the Chinese tech companies. I mean, Nvidia, AMD, Intel, they are down, or we saw them crashing because of this. And China is very making a bold statement into the US by doing this, to say that even on the newly elected Donald Trump or the Trump administration, China is really making sure that they communicate that regardless of what obviously Biden administration did, they still managed to advance, which is something that obviously it is good, it is amazing. So AI, open AI, ladies and gents, it is the future, because like I said, DeepSeek, you can build anything you want, you can do your research and whatsoever you want to do. So like I said, I thought, and this is just so bullish into Chinese equities, Chinese EV makers like Neo, because it will be helping them improve on their companies. It will be having the Chinese equities to obviously better their businesses, because it gives you the figures as they are. It gives you statistics and you are able to plan. It can help you build, of course, the technology that you need for the company, which is very, very important. And someone, when I talk about DeepSeek on my video, on my other YouTube channel, he spoke about Nomi, right? You know that Nomi, it's also an AI voice controller inside a Neo car, which you can ask it anything about the Neo car. You can ask it somehow anything and it will be able to respond. And to know that right now this DeepSeek, you and me can agree that the technology in China is about to continue to advance because of DeepSeek, because of what China just launched. So yeah, man, that's all from me. I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey. I know on this channel I talk about South African shares or South African stocks, but I thought I come and also just share what just happened, why so many of you that own Nvidia stocks, you saw your shares dropping by over 16% or almost 17%. So hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in my next video. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, subscribe and hit the notification bell. And please note that this is not financial advice, these are just my opinions. If you seek professional financial advice, you already know what to do, and that is you need to go and consult the professionals. I'll see you in my next video, and God bless you all.